or woman, gay or straight, the contract gives you those rights. And so, what unions are and should be a force for justice, for equality, for all people, And my grandfather's an example because he came in off the boat and then he got a job, a union job. He had health care. He had, decent pay. He was not rich by any means.
Right.
And
then his daughter's son goes to law school.
Yeah.
No, but meaning that lifts him out of, really starting at the bottom, right?
Right. Yeah. So his kids.
By that same measure, I should have gone to law school, but that wasn't happening.
Maybe the next generation.
Maybe the next generation. God, yeah. I hope so.
Right.
Intelligence skips a generation in our family.
Well, but you could see the progress in my family each generation because my parents were the first ones to go to college. They went to City College in New York back when it was free for everybody.
God, we got to get back to some free college, man.
Yeah. And my mom was able to become a social worker, and then my mom,
your mom must have been active.
She was. Well, what happened was she became a social worker, and she got very active in her union. And she was elected to union office. She served, I think, about 16 years as the vice president of her local, one of the biggest locals in New York City. And she was a great example for me of what it means to serve your union and to be an activist.
And that means, I would imagine, and especially in New York City, there's always something happening. So you're always getting drug around to all these union functions, right?
Yeah.
Every picket line or strike or fundraiser or food bank or you name it, right?
Yep. No, that's kind of how I grew up. And I suppose I could have rebelled against it and become like a right winger or something.
Corporate journey.
Yeah, right. I could have become stock trader. I can't.
Even in Wall Street, the movie Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
It's the other one, Charlie Sheen. Yeah. Charlie Sheen. It's been so long. Whose father in the movie is a union rep for the airline.
And in real life, Martin Sheen is a
huge union activist, and where his son is active for other people, but
different kind of activist.
Yeah. But even in that movie. And again, it's a movie and it's fiction. But even the son, in the end, it's the activist, social justice, moral teachings of his father that kind of bring him back. Where he finds some sort of redemption.
Yeah. Our parents have a big influence, I guess. I kind of look back and I'm like, well, how'd that happen? They didn't tell me to do any of this. I just kind of, And then, and then I hope my kids, and of course you want your kids to make their own decisions, but you want them to make good decisions. So, hope that they'll
just make good decisions, please.
Right.
How many kids you got?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids.
I have 2 daughters that are 10 and 12, and then I have a toddler boy.
You get 3 daughters. 2 daughters.
2 daughters and a son.
2 daughters and a son. Boy, daughters. I dodged that bullet.
I'll tell you, it's so wonderful. But ask me tomorrow, I might say something different.
Because,
right. Well, they're
parenting.
Well, I guess so. They're preteens right now. And being a preteen during the pandemic is pretty rough. I mean, my 12-year-old started middle school on Zoom. She's, they overall did pretty good, but so she's in, she's a preteen, and some days she wants her space, and some days she wants to, talk to dad. And so
and they know so much. Even my 11-year-old's like telling me how I'm wrong all the time. And it's, and you got to let them make their mistakes too. But geez, sons and daughters, that's got to be a different ballgame.
Well, having a little toddler boy, it's been a lot of fun. He's a sweet kid. And so it's a busy life right now.
So 2010, what's going on at 2010 now? So I'm trying to think, 2010, so you're into your 2nd or 3rd contract down there now, post-affiliation, or? Well,
what happened was after we had kind of shored up our strength internally, we turned to external organizing, and we organized 2,300 skilled trades workers out of CSU. So we have all the 22 campuses of California State University are now Teamsters 2010, and 6, because we just organized Davis. UC campuses of skilled trades are 2010. And we also started a campaign to organize the so-called administrative professional workers at UC, which is a universe of could be as much as 18,000 administrative workers who are kind of in the titles that are supposedly above our current clerical administrative.
So the people
unit.
getting screwed the most, basically.
The people getting screwed the most because what they do at UC, they're really good at a lot of games. One of them is, I'm going to give you you're so great, I'm going to give you this fancy title.
And a salary, but
a fancy title. Now you won't be in the union anymore, but look, we've got this huge range of salary.
Right.
And if you look at the range, it'll be like 50,000 to 120,000.
Yeah.
Right. And you
that's
look at the
awesome.
range, you're like, yeah, I've got a fancy title in this great range. And then you get out there and then you realize, I'm never moving up this range and I don't have any rights. I can be let go whenever I want. I have no representation and I'm not going to get a raise if they don't feel like giving me one. Like last year, we all got our raises because we have a union contract that says raise on this date.
Raise.
Our non-union sisters and brothers got no raise because university cried poverty because of the COVID epidemic. But there's been many years in the past decade where
it's always something. If it's not COVID, it's some other bullshit.
Budget crisis, also when you get a raise,
it's too cold. It's
right, exactly. But when you get a raise, it's not a real raise because it's what they call a merit pool, which means
what is a merit pool?
Well, which means that if you have been kissing your supervisor's butt enough, you'll get 4%. But if not, and we don't like you or you're raising issues, we'll give you 2%. Or if we really don't like you, you get nothing.
Don't put me in the merit pool, please.
Right. No, this is not the pool you want.
The merit pool.
So
I'm going to hashtag that merit pool.
Right. So we've been organizing that group, and we already got. During the pandemic, we brought in 1,000 of them. They're called Administrative Officer 2s. We're currently bargaining their pay and benefits. We also organized UC Davis in the last few months into the union skilled trades, 300 skilled trades. So we've actually organized in the past few years over 4,000 workers, new workers into the union. And the other big thing we did was our contract campaigns. So now 4 years ago, we had our contract campaigns for the big statewide clerical unit.
And this is true like rank and file, flexing their muscle and getting out.
Oh, yeah. Well, the interesting thing about it is, remember I was saying that the members were not engaged and active. So what that meant was first we were signing them up to membership. Then we were like, okay, let's get the members to do something because we have to get from nothing to be able to strike if necessary. And that's a big way to go. Right. So we'd started with, okay, will you sign this petition? Come out to this rally. And I have a picture up in the office, which I love to look at from those early days where we called a rally at UC Irvine. And if you look at this picture, there's like a dozen people that came to the rally. One of them, Catherine Cobb, who's now our president, at the time she was a worker at UC Irvine, my dear sister. Everyone else is Teamsters staff. You got Ray Whitmer, you got Carlos, you got all right? So our reach at that beginning was we could get one or two.
The apathy's got to be, it's getting over that apathy's got to be rough, man.
Well, it was a grind. It was, okay, so we could get one or two.
No free lunch, no fancy flyer, and all of a sudden everybody's excited.
Right. No, there's no magic wand. And it's just a process and then you get 5 people, and then you get 10 people, and then you get a win. So like whenever there was an issue, we would file a grievance, but we would also say...
Like what? Well, what would be an issue that came up early?
Let's see. Well, there was one issue where there was...
And it's a loaded question because I know it's small things, but these small things are important to people.
Important to workers, yeah. So
it could be the chairs,
Well, it was... I'll give you an example, and you try to have fun with it.
Right.
At UCLA, at the holiday time, they would shut down the campus, and they would make people take their vacation during the holidays on certain days.
Instead of just giving them the holidays, it's your vacation.
Instead of giving them the paid days, they would make them take their vacation. Now, some people were like, cool, it's Christmas, I'm going to take it off anyway. But there were other people who said, no, that's my time. I get to decide.
I want to be off during Christmas, but I want to take my vacation in February.
I want to take my vacation in February. That's when the kids are off or whatever.
Right.
So we said, this is our time. The university should not take away so we got the Grinch. We got one of our folks dressed up as the Grinch, and we called our members down, and we got a couple dozen members. We got hundreds to sign a petition, and then we marched into the chancellor's office and said, "You're the Grinch who stole our Christmas pay," and we we took pictures and we put it out, and this was early days of social media, but we put it on the internet and all this, and we got them to change their position, and we got them to say, okay, you don't have to take your vacation. If you want, you can come in and work.
And even just the options, huge.
Right, exactly. But it was more the fact that when you take action together and you get a win, and then we go back and communicate it back to all the members, not this is what your union won for you or whatever. This, because we filed a grievance or got a lawyer or whatever. This is what we won together, standing together and taking action as Teamsters. And when you do, and then the members feel like, okay, we feel in our bones that we are a union.
So you're empowering your rank and file is what you're doing.
We're empowering the rank and file because it's their action. It's the rank and file standing together, taking action together that actually gets the wins. And every time we talk about the union, that's how we talk, and every time there's an issue, it's okay, what action can we take? I'll give you another one that I like.
Because these things are important to people,
They're important to people, and this is how we built our union from nothing. Okay, so at UC Irvine, in one particular department, we had a bully boss. And you'd be surprised how many bully bosses there are at the prestigious University of California.
Really? Because I would think most of the assholes would go private.
No, because you've got these really kind of entitled, because, the professors and the doctors who bring in all the money and grants, they're God, okay? And the working folks that actually make the place run.
It is kind of an aristocracy, right?
It is an aristocracy. And the workers are, the way they treat workers ranges from indifference to just mean, abuse. So, and our union has made that a top priority. We've gotten very strong language in our contract, anti-bullying language. We passed the first anti-bullying law as a union early on, AB 2053, which requires training on abusive conduct. We're very proud of that. So, but then when there's a bully boss, we don't just file a grievance. We get everybody together. So,
oh my God, I never thought about it. But whereas most companies, your traditional company, you can go from the mailroom to the boardroom, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, as far-fetched as it may sound, but I never thought about it. But UC, that's nearly impossible, right? It's just walled off.
Well, you're not going to be a professor or a doctor unless you leave and go into the schools for that. But,
right.
Yeah. And
but I'm saying that there's an elite class.
There is.
And that for the majority of people that work under the systems, they might as well be on a different planet.
Right. And so a lot of times their complaints are not taken seriously.
Right.
And so what we tell our members is, look, if you go in by yourself to the boss and say, we've got a problem, you're not treating us right, boss will say, you're crazy. Okay.
Right.
But if we all go in together and say we've got a problem, you know what the boss says? We have a problem, right?
We have a problem.
Yeah, because when everyone comes in, first of all, they can't say you're crazy. It's everybody. And second of all, it's all the people that make the place run for them, okay? So in this one situation, and we've done this many times, but this was probably the first time we did it, UC Irvine, we had this problem with bullying. So we met with the members. They told us about the situation. And we said, okay, we're going to pick a day. And I'll come down to San Diego. We'll all get together, and we're going to, at a certain time, we're all going to take our break.
That's right, because everybody's everywhere.
Everywhere. So that's why I'm everywhere.
Right.
I'm in a different work site every day for the most part. So we said, okay, well, we're all going to get together. We're all going to put on our Teamster shirts, and then we're all going to go walk together and march on the boss. We're going to knock on his door and say,
"Oh, they hate that."
Talk. Boss hates it. I'll tell you that right
now. Oh yeah.
Now. So
attention. I mean, especially these are little kings of their little kingdoms, right?
Exactly, and that's how they feel until everyone stands up together. So we did this. We all put on our shirts. We marched from the meeting room to the boss's office. Knock on the door, and he looks at us. You'd think look like deer in the headlights. Anyways, we met with them. We let the workers all talked and said, explain what the problem is. And
that's always the tricky part too. That's where good leadership helps, because articulating the problem, you can have everybody can march till the cows come home. But if you don't know what you want to keep you from marching, right. like verbal, articulating what it is you need so we don't have to march on you that's a skill in itself.
Right. Well, and they needs to hear it from the members, because the members are living it.
Right.
And the members are the ones that are making that operation run. So we had it planned who was going to speak. The members spoke, and he said, okay, well, we're going to make, and they made the changes that we recommended based on that. And then, for